Right now, somewhere in the world, a teacher is carrying a month's salary to buy groceries. It won't be enough. Last week, it would have been tomorrow. It'll buy even less. This isn't 1923 Germany. It's 2025, and it's happened 4 times in the last 30 years. 4 different countries. Same 7 mistakes. Every single time. Here's what terrifies me. Your grocery bill is following the same pattern. You've noticed it, haven't you? The eggs that cost $3 last year now cost $6. Your rent jumped 20%, but your paycheck didn't. That's not random. That's not inflation. That's the beginning of something historians have seen before, and it never ends well. What if I told you there's a pattern, a sequence of mistakes that governments make, thinking they're different, thinking they're smarter, they're not, and stage 1 has already started. To understand where we're headed, we need to go back, not to theory, to reality, to 4 nations that thought they were immune. Zimbabwe, Venezuela, Argentina, Lebanon, different decades, different leaders. Same catastrophic decisions, and by the end, you'll see the pattern. You'll recognize the signs, and you'll understand why your wallet is caught in the same cycle. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes, and right now, the rhyme is getting louder. Let me take you to Zimbabwe, 2008. For years, things had been declining, but in 2008, something broke completely. Picture this. A loaf of bread cost 1.6 trillion Zimbabwean dollars, not million, not billion. Trillion. Teachers carried backpacks full of cash to buy lunch. By the time they reached the store, prices had doubled. The government printed a $100 trillion bill. It bought 3 eggs. Source: International Monetary Fund Crisis Report 2009. But it didn't start with trillion-dollar bills. It started with confidence. Zimbabwe was once called the breadbasket of Africa. Farms were productive, the currency was stable. People saved money because money held value. Then came mistake number 1, land redistribution without economic planning. Productive farms collapsed. Food production dropped 60% in 5 years. Source: World Bank Zimbabwe Economic Report 2003 to 2008. Mistake number 2, the government needed money, so they printed it. Just a little at first, to cover deficits, to pay salaries. We'll control it, they said. They didn't. By 2007, inflation hit 1,000% annually. Your savings lost 90% of their value in 12 months. Sound familiar? Your savings account right now earns maybe 1% interest. Inflation over the past 3 years averaged 6%. You're losing 5% every year. Slowly, quietly, the same pattern Zimbabwe faced, just at a different speed. Source: Federal Reserve Economic Data, 2021 to 2024, mistake number 3, price controls. When bread prices exploded, the government said bread can't cost more than this amount. It sounds compassionate. It wasn't. Bakers couldn't afford to make bread at the forced price. Shelves went empty. Black markets formed. A loaf of bread cost 10 times more on the street than in the empty stores. Meet Sarah Mahoka. She was a nurse in Harare. 42 years old, 3 children. She'd been saving for 15 years to buy a house. In January 2008, her savings could have bought that house. By March, it couldn't buy a month's groceries. By June, it bought 1 tank of gas. By November, it was worthless. 15 years of sacrifice gone in 11 months. That's what hyperinflation does, not to governments. To you? Source: When money dies in Zimbabwe, personal accounts archive. Stanford University Zimbabwe made 7 mistakes total. We've covered 3. But here's what they didn't see coming. Once you pass a certain threshold, once people stop believing money holds value, it doesn't matter what the government does. Trust disappears. And without trust, currency is just paper. By November 2008, Zimbabwe's inflation rate hit 89.76 trillion%. That's a number so large, it's almost meaningless. Here's what it meant practically. Prices doubled every 24.7 hours. Every single day, your money lost half its value. The pattern was clear. The warning signs were obvious, and nobody could stop it. Source: Zimbabwe's Hyperinflation, Analysis and Lessons Learned, IMF Working Paper, 2009. This pattern didn't end in Zimbabwe. It just moved. Fast forward to Venezuela, 2018. Venezuela was the richest country in South America. Massive oil reserves, free healthcare, free education, socialist paradise they called it. Then came mistake number 1 again. Economic policy based on ideology, not reality. The government took over industries. Production collapsed. By 2015, toilet paper was rationed, not because of shortages in supply chains, because the government destroyed the supply chains. Mistake number 2 repeated. Print money to solve the problem. Venezuela's government needed to pay for programs, pay salaries, maintain control. So they printed and printed and printed. Source: Central Bank of Venezuela, Annual Reports, 2015 to 2018. Here's where it gets personal. In 2016, a Venezuelan teacher named Carlos Hernandez earned enough to feed his family comfortably. By 2018, his monthly salary bought 2 pounds of cheese, not 2 pounds per day, 2 pounds total for the entire month. He'd show up to teach because he loved his students, but he was starving. Slowly, publicly, your paycheck increased 3% last year. Groceries increased 18%. You're not starving, not yet, but the gap is widening. The pattern is the same, just slower. Source: Bureau of Labor Statistics Wage and Price Index 2023 to 2024. Mistake number 3 in Venezuela. Currency controls. The government said $1 equals this many bolivars. The black market said something very different. Official rate 6 bolivars per dollar. Black market rate 6,000 bolivars per dollar. If you needed dollars for medicine, for food imports, for anything, you paid black market rates. The government pretended everything was fine. People starved anyway. By 2018, Venezuela's inflation hit 1,000,000% annually. Restaurants stopped printing menus because prices changed hourly. They wrote prices on chalkboards, then they gave up and just told you the price when you ordered. By the time your food arrived, it might have changed again. Source: Venezuela's economic collapse, a humanitarian crisis, Human Rights Watch, 2019. 3 million people fled Venezuela between 2015 and 2019. They left everything, their homes, their savings, their lives, because money became worthless, and with it, everything money could buy: food, medicine, safety. Notice something. Zimbabwe, Venezuela, different continents, different governments, different decades, same 7 mistakes, same sequence, same ending. But there's more. The pattern continued. Argentina 2023. This wasn't Argentina's first dance with inflation. They'd been through this before in the 1980s. You'd think they learned. They didn't. Inflation hit 160% in 2023. Not as dramatic as Zimbabwe or Venezuela, but devastating nonetheless. Source: Argentina National Institute of Statistics and Census, 2023. Maria Santos owned a small bakery in Buenos Aires. Every morning at 5 a.m., she'd check prices for flour, eggs, butter. Every morning, they were higher. She'd calculate what to charge for bread. By afternoon, her costs had risen again, but she'd already sold bread at morning prices. She was losing money with every loaf sold. Within 8 months, she closed. 30 years of baking, gone. Your landlord raised rent 25% this year. Your salary increased 3%. You're making the same choice Maria made, which bills don't get paid, which meals get skipped. The pattern is there. You're living it. Source: Zillow Rent Index 2024 and Federal Reserve wage data. Mistake number 4 appears here. Borrowing in foreign currency. Argentina owed money in dollars, but they earned in pesos. As the peso collapsed, their debt exploded. They couldn't pay. They defaulted. Again, it was Argentina's 9th default since independence. Lebanon, 2022 present, the Lebanese pound lost 95% of its value in 3 years. Banks froze accounts. People protested. The government collapsed. Your life savings, if you were Lebanese, vanished, not stolen, just worthless. Source: World Bank Lebanon Economic Monitor, 2023. Mistake number 5, banking system collapse. When people don't trust banks, they withdraw everything. When everyone withdraws, banks fail. When banks fail, the economy freezes. Lebanon is frozen right now. ATMs limit withdrawals to $20 per week. $20 for a week. Try feeding a family on that. Here's the terrifying part. In March 2023, Silicon Valley Bank collapsed in the United States, 16th largest bank in America. Gone in 48 hours, depositors panicked. The government intervened. The pattern is recognizable. Source: Federal Reserve SVB Collapse Analysis, 2023. Mistake number 6. loss of confidence. Once people stop believing, once they start hoarding goods instead of money, once they prefer anything to currency, it's over. Zimbabwe saw it. Venezuela lived it. Argentina knows it. Lebanon is drowning in it. Let me show you mistake number 7. The final one. The one that seals the collapse. Denial. Every government, at every stage, denied reality. This is temporary. We have it under control. This time is different. Zimbabwe said it. Venezuela said it. Argentina said it. Lebanon said it. They were all wrong. Source: Hyperinflation Case Studies, Comparative Analysis, 1920 to 2023, Journal of Economic History. So what does this mean for you, for us? For right now, as of October 2024, the United States national debt stands at $35 trillion. That's $270,000 per taxpayer. Debt to GDP ratio, 123%. That's higher than it was before the 2008 crisis. Source: U.S. Treasury Department, October 2024. But we're America. You say, we're different. That's what they all said. Britain was the global empire. Sterling will always be strong. It collapsed. Japan was the rising superpower. Our economy is unique. It stagnated for 30 years. Every empire thought they were different. Let's make this personal. Here are the numbers you actually feel. Groceries. The average American family spent $8,000 on groceries in 2020. In 2024, that same family spent $12,000 for the same food. That's a 50% increase in 4 years. Source: USDA Food Price Index 2024 rent. Average rent in major U.S. cities was $1,500 in 2019. Today, it's $2,100. That's a 40% jump. Your salary increased what, 10% if you're lucky? Source: Zillow Rent Index 2024 Healthcare. Insurance premiums climbed 30% since 2020. Deductibles went up. Coverage went down. You're paying more for less. The medical bankruptcy rate is rising again. Source: Kaiser Family Foundation Health Costs Report 2024 Student Loans. Total U.S. student debt hit $1.7 trillion. The average borrower pays $503 per month. Median rent is $1,800. That's $2,300 gone before food, gas, healthcare. One paycheck. Vanished. Source: Federal Student Aid Portfolio. Summary 2024. Savings. If you saved $10,000 in 2020, assuming typical savings account, interest of 0.5%, and inflation averaged 6% annually, your purchasing power today is about $7,400. You lost 26%. You didn't spend it. It just disappeared. Source: Federal Reserve and Bureau of Labor Statistics CPI calculator. But here's what terrifies economists right now. The money supply in 2020 to fight COVID's economic impact. The Federal Reserve increased the money supply by 40%. 40% in 1 year. That's more than the previous decade combined. You don't just print that much money without consequences. The consequences are showing up now at your grocery store, at your gas pump, in your rent. Source: Federal Reserve M2 money supply data 2022-2024. The pattern is clear. Stage 1, overspending. Check. The government spends more than it earns. Stage 2, printing money. Check. Quantitative easing, they call it. It's printing. Stage 3, rising inflation. Check. You've seen it. You've felt it. Stage 4, denial. Inflation is transitory, they said in 2021. It wasn't. We're at stage 5, eroding trust. People are questioning, searching for alternatives. Bitcoin surged, then crashed. Gold prices climbed. Real estate became an inflation hedge, pricing out first-time buyers. These are signs. Warning signs. The same signs that appeared in every other collapse. Source: Bloomberg Financial Markets Analysis, Q4 2024. But there's something they don't teach in schools. Something historians whisper but politicians ignore. Once you reach stage 6, once the spiral accelerates, stopping it becomes almost impossible. You need political will, economic sacrifice, and public trust. 3 things that rarely exist simultaneously. Are we headed for Zimbabwe-level hyperinflation? Probably not. The dollar is the global reserve currency. That buys time, but it doesn't buy immunity. Britain's pound was the reserve currency until it wasn't. These things don't happen overnight. They happen slowly, then suddenly. The question isn't whether the pattern exists. It does. The question is, how far along are we? 5 empires, 5 collapses, same stages, same warnings, same ending. Rome debased currency and fell. Weimar printed money and collapsed. Zimbabwe repeated the mistake. Venezuela followed the script. Argentina keeps returning to the same disaster. Here's what keeps me up at night. Not that we're following the pattern, that's obvious. What haunts me is how many people don't see it. Your grocery bill is screaming. Your rent increase is shouting. Your savings erosion is a blaring alarm. But we've normalized it. That's just how things are now. That's what they said in Zimbabwe. In 2005, things are tough, but we'll manage. By 2008, they were burning cash for warmth because it was cheaper than firewood. History doesn't repeat, but it echoes, and right now the echo is deafening. There's one more piece to this puzzle, one pattern I haven't told you yet. One decision that every government makes at the very end when they're desperate. That's for next time. But here's a hint. It involves your bank account. Directly, your grocery bill tells a story. Your rent increase writes a chapter. The question is, how does this story end? And more importantly, are we the characters who finally learn from history? Or are we just the next chapter in the same tragic book? So let me ask you this. When did you first notice things changing? Was it the grocery store, the gas pump, your savings account? Drop a comment. I read every single one, because your experience matters. You're living through economic history. The question is whether we recognize it in time. And in the next video, we'll uncover that final decision, the one every collapsing economy makes, the one that transfers wealth from your pocket to theirs. You won't want to miss it. If this made you think differently, hit subscribe. More patterns, more history, more truth every week. Thank you for watching this through. If you want to understand where we're headed, I'll see you in the next one.